Believe it or not, when Lydia Johnson was 12 years old, sponges kicked off her continuing passion for sales. When she grew up, she vaulted from selling sponges to selling bank options. After 32 years in the financial business, she left her banking career, her credit union career, to do other things, and she wrote a book called The Jalepeno Handshake, filled with a few life lessons and strategies to help you heat up your business relationships. It is my pleasure to welcome Lydia Johnson to Studio 4 to tell us more.
Thank you, Fanny.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So, sponges.
Sponges.
The sponges we buy in the store, like
the boring old
the pink,
sponges,
blue, and yellow?
Packages of pink, blue, yellow, and everything else. Yeah, those little square ones.
Mm-hmm.
So how?
Yeah, so how?
So here I was in small town, Glace Bay, Nova Scotia.
Perfect.
Cape Breton Island. My father started his first store, Canadian Tire store, first one back there. And he misordered. We had a small stock room, and he said, get rid of the sponges. Well, I knew he didn't mean out the back door. Mm-hmm. And as his new 12-year-old cashier at the front of the store, I said, nobody's leaving here without some sponges. So whatever I could think of for somebody and how they could use a sponge, they walked out with sponges. And 2 days later, we were gone. They were all gone and wondered where the heck the sponges went.
I'm sure your dad probably thought
he did.
You tossed them.
He did.
But you being the perfect daughter,
and
probably a chatty daughter. Well, probably, but probably chatty, and the ABC always be closing.
Yes.
So you were closing and selling sponges at the same time, and you say essentially we're all in sales.
We're all in sales, whether we're selling sponges or a movie and what movie you want to go to, or just about anything else, or just even an idea.
Yeah, Joey Girard, the world's greatest salesman, said, what you're really selling is yourself.
Is yourself. That's exactly
or service.
it. Yeah.
It's really yourself, isn't it?
Exactly. And people get hung up on sales, the word sale or a salesperson. Mm-hmm. And I think be proud of it, because that's what gets around the world. If it wasn't for salespeople, we'd have a whole lot of stuff sitting on shelves.
Well, I was raised by a salesman, so I know how they operate for sure. But as you know, there is kind of that shyster, snake oil image, long gone,
exactly.
I think.
Yes.
As a consumer, we have to be aware.
Of course.
Hello.
Yes.
So what do jalapenos, the peppers, the hot peppers in business have in common?
Well, I say there's ways that we can heat up our business relationships. So I've played with the jalapeno as a way of heating up and just using it for that word, because we've been stung before in business, as you just pointed out. And jalapenos can sting you. They can burn. They're not a very pleasant thing. On the other hand, they can really enhance our food. So I played on that, Fanny, and said, if people could just do some really good quality basics about building some strong, trusted relationships, they can get way more out of their relationships and their customer-client member relations.
Sure, and trust is the operative word.
Trust is the operative word, exactly. So I talk in the book about some key things that build trust, and not about getting the next deal. It's not just about that, book 'em Dano kind of thing. It's about a long-term trusted relationship.
Sure, and it's not about pressure.
It's not that at all. It's about choice and information and education and opportunity.
But as you know so well, because you study this, we hold ourselves back. We have dreams, we hold ourselves back.
We do.
We have ideas, we think they're not good enough. How do you get over that hurdle?
Well, that's a big one, because we've all got them. And in part, it's part of the conditioning that we have as small children. We are conditioned with almost a fear aspect, sadly. And I've been studying the mind for the last number of years too, so I've taken that with my sales background and said, well, what is it that we're always so afraid of? If it's making the next sale or holding back on a dream, whether we're going to do something fantastic, it's a very natural fear of failure or fear of success.
And fear of success is a big one.
It's a big one, but people don't always think of that. They think it's more about failing, but fear of success is huge for all of us.
Very much so. And if we fear success, we'll sabotage what we're doing.
Exactly.
Or we'll stop what we're doing.
Because of the way that we think about ourselves and what our capabilities are, we stop ourselves from doing things because we really think maybe we're not smart enough or talented enough, or maybe we don't have enough money to do whatever it is we wanted to do, or our grade 5 teacher told us something way back then that we still replay in our minds.
No, you have to weed the mind, as you know.
Exactly.
Thoughts are real forces. Get rid of the bad
Thoughts
ones.
are things.
Weed the garden.
Exactly.
No one can make a brand new start. Anyone can start from now and make a brand new ending.
Yes.
I can't remember who said that. Probably anonymous. But
as a matter of fact, it isn't, because it's in my book, and I just can't think of who it was right now. But that's exactly the way it is. So really, every single day we start, no matter what we're doing professionally or personally, it's brand new. It's a clean slate.
Sure.
We make choices every single day.
Well, and when you've had one of those moments, you need the courage and the tenacity to push forth.
Exactly.
And when you're turned down, when you cold call, as you know, we didn't have to do much cold calling at the bank, but when you work very hard with a client,
Yes.
and you don't get the sale, they go to the other bank or the other vehicle.
Absolutely. Think of Babe Ruth, though. What do we know Babe Ruth for doing? Home runs. But how many strikeouts did he have? He had way more strikeouts than he did home runs. Yet what is it about him that we always remember as home runs? So in sales or in any part of our life, we have to strike out every once in a while.
Of course. But what if you're known for your strikeouts? What do you do about that?
You get a new directive. You make some positive choices. You start to almost trick your minds, trick your subconscious. You start to affirm things to yourself to say, I'm not going to think like that anymore. I'm going to think of myself completely different. It's that self-image that a lot of us have a
choose
problem.
how I think about this situation. It can be awful, or it can be a lesson. It can be dreadful, or it can be a learning experience, as they say.
And we've all had lots of those.
Sure. Well, Mayor Gregor Robertson, right there this morning, said, learn from that.
Yeah.
Well, I did media training, and we always said, first rule, when there's a camera crew, the camera will probably always be on. The interview may not have started, but believe me, the mic and the camera are often on because they're checking. So whatever you say in that room will probably be recorded. Goal setting, goal getting. Do you believe in goal setting in the Jalapeno Handshake?
Absolutely. I think goal setting is one of the most important things we should be doing in our lives, regardless of what we do professionally. So if it's 20 pounds you want to lose, if it's an adventure trip you want to take, if it's doing something, reading a book, if it's whatever, every part of our lives. We've got 7 areas of our lives that I truly believe we have to really focus on and set goals. 2 or 3 of them every single year in all areas of our lives. I'm a believer that you should read your goals every single day, twice a day.
Really? But first you have to know what you want to set a goal.
Yeah, or be or do
That's
or
some deep
have.
thinking.
It is, and most people don't do that.
And how realistic should goals be?
Absolutely realistic. I use the STAMP acronym. You've probably heard of the SMART acronym. I twist mine a little bit. So it's being very specific with a goal. It's being time measured. So is it in the next 12 months you want it, or 24, or whatever? It's being achievable to that point. It's something that's measurable. And the P is for priority. You've got to decide in your life, how are you going to prioritize this?
Right.
We've all got a million balls juggling in the air every single day. How does this goal prioritize with all of the others?
It's a bucket list of sorts.
It is.
But if you haven't had a terminal diagnosis, you don't have to make that bucket list yet.
Unless you've seen the movie, and then you want to make one.
Well, yeah. Because Barbara Jo McIntosh from Barbara Jo's Books to Cooks was in, and her dream was to always go to Paris, spend a month in Paris, and write a cookbook. And she did it.
Fabulous.
She could barely leave Paris. She was so enthralled,
Yes,
really.
I can
But she's
imagine.
turned this out, and of all the things she does and accomplishes, I bet this is going to be one of her favorites.
Probably huge. Yeah.
Well, she calls it her wee one.
Yeah.
Cooking for me and sometimes you. So it's your wee one. It's like your baby, and I did it. And what is better for us as humans to accomplish and be rewarded and
Be the thing
valued?
that really makes this tick. You know,
So
the
what
thing-
stops that? What's our worst enemy, do you think?
Ourselves. Our conditioning, how we see ourselves, how we perceive people seeing us. It's our self-image, and we don't have enough tools, as most people do, and this is part of what I coach with leaders and with individuals now,
Sure.
is how do you change that self-image that you have? How do you get in touch at an emotional and a passionate level about what you really want to be, do, or have?
Absolutely. And
very
if you're
clear
a
on that.
business, it's the same deal, isn't it?
Oh, totally.
Your customer approach, customer is always right. Service, service, service.
Absolutely.
We hear the words,
Yes.
but then you have to get to the action
Isn't
part.
that true? And that's the hard part. So a lot of people have mission, values, all these fancy-dancy statements on their
Words
websites
on the
or something,
wall.
words on the wall, but they're not executing at that passionate level to really make that happen.
Right.
In fact, it was Einstein that said, a vision without execution is just a hallucination.
True. And, you know thyself.
Yes, that's a big part of
Know
it.
thyself and know thy business.
You bet.
And what business you're really in.
And what turns you on, what really gives you that
Sure.
juice every single day. Go out and do that.
Well,
whatever
you're obviously
it is.
doing it. Do you miss banking?
I do.
You do.
I do. But I connect with it lots, and I absolutely love the people that I work with. And I love taking people from where they are today and making them step into their very powerful selves.
Yeah, it's positive.
It is very positive.
I thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you. Lydia Johnson, the Jalapeno Handshake, strategies to heat up your business relationships. Tomorrow, our resident cheeky, chatty chef, Gary Steele, makes some turkey burgers with a Steele-like twist or two. And we meet the much-honored, born in Masset, Haida Gwaii weaver, Dolores Churchill. She is the grande dame of Haida weavers. And Professor Emeritus Dr. John Hellawell reflects on what is happiness, what does it have to do with money or with generosity. Thanks for watching Studio 4. There will be lots more on Shaw TV, only on Shaw TV.
Floral arrangements for Studio 4 provided by Vivio Flower Gallery.
Coming soon to Shaw Video On Demand.